Do you do you actually target those things in the fall when they're coming down?
Oh, absolutely. I'll sometimes that's my main pattern. I'll just specifically target pods of shad.
This is jumping fish here.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, yeah. You would target the pods
Yeah.
of shad.
Basically, what you look for is what I call popcorn on the water, on the surface of the water. It's like something throwing BBs, and you just see these little silver dimples all over the surface of the water. On less windy days is when you can really see them. So then I'll just remember where they are, and they'll move through. You know, you'll get there. That's a little bit better fish.
Yeah.
You move in to certain spots when they're migrating, and they're moved out of those spots, and then you got to find them in other spots. But
And now the bait of choice. Ouch. These are strong fish.
they're fun, aren't they, when they get in the boat?
They are strong.
They don't quit once they're in the boat.
Targeting the bass in the fall area. What kind of lures would you be doing? Would you?
On the shad fry?
Yeah.
In the fall, well, these soft stick baits or yum dingers, top water's real good, especially on cloudy days or early morning. We do a lot of good top water fishing. I like walking baits in the fall.
Yeah, I'll bet that.
Nice little fish.
Yeah.
Case salty shads, things like that.
So you're just trying to almost imitate the.
And if they're not eating good, you can work a grub down below them. If they're not looking up through the water column and you find a shad fry, you put a little white or like a smoke-colored grub, 3-inch grub, Kalin's grub, and just wind it through the pods. You know, anything like that, slash baits. What we're using now, basically, if you can find the shad fry, you know.
Where would the smallmouth position themselves? Do they just like circle the pods of bait, or do they just?
They're usually under them.
Under them.
They usually stay under them.
Uh-huh.
And then every so often, you just poof, poof, poof. You just see these explosions through the pod, and then it'll stop, and it's like the explosions always happen just out of my range. But if you hit that spot within 5 feet of a fish that's eating the shad fry, it doesn't matter what you have on, they eat it almost every time.
They're going to
just
come
grab
right
it.
at it. This is what we're throwing. This is the bait that they're really hitting on, and it's a 3-inch.
3-inch yum dinger.
Yum dinger. In what color would you call this?
That's watermelon red.
Watermelon red.
Yeah.
And we're just using it on a little tiny jig head. And that's all it is to it. And just letting it sink and just working it along the bottom.
It's like the fish that are eating these nymphs rising through the water really prefer the little stick bait to the bigger one right now. It's been a good numbers bait for me lately.
That's it, just like that. All right, I gotta get back out.
It's an idiot bait, is what it is. It's just,
No?
you know.
There you go, I got him. Oh, jumping!
It's full of them out there, isn't it?
Yeah. Lydia, this is like almost every cast they're hitting it.
Oh, he came off. It's the same type of bite every time, too.
Yep.
You feel the weight on the rod tip, and then you feel him pull back.
That's not. I have to say this, and I probably said it 1,000 times. There's nothing like catching a smallmouth, man. I don't care what you say. It's a.
These are
fish,
small, typical summer fish, and you just, you know, you can't beat them. I always say to my clients, boy, it's a shame they don't fight.
Yeah.
It's a shame
For the
they don't
size of that
fight.
fish, you think, you know, that's a fighting fish. A beautiful fish.
That's a small one there.
And while you're
He
bringing
came
that
off,
with,
dude. What's going on here?
let's just talk a little bit about the yum dingers that we have, or the soft plastics. You got to go through it. They call them soft plastic for a reason.
Yes, they do.
When you're out here, you have to bring a bunch with you, because with these smallmouths will just tear them up.
Yeah, they tear up spinnerbaits, so you know what they're going to do with these.
Yeah.
You know.
This one's got to be. I'll probably get another fish out of it before I'll have to. Might have to bite it down a little bit.
There he is. That's a spunky one there.
There's a nice fish there.
That's another one right off that trough there, right off the side of it. That's a good lead in.
There you go. Now, Blaine, try to explain what we have here. You said it's a trough. What exactly are we talking about here?
The troughs, basically in this section, this is called a tail out right here. We have a tail out. This is where that slightly deeper pool kind of gets faster and tails out. And in this specific spot, this isn't flat here. A lot of tail outs are flatter. They'll have boulders. This has humps, like humps of cobblestone and rock, and they'll hump up. And on each side of it, you have a little gully that the smallmouth will lay down in these little troughs, and it's an ambush point in faster water for insects and for things floating by.
Yeah, because we're not in very much.
We're
not in deep water.
We're
here
in
at all.
we're in 2.5 foot of water here,
Right.
and those humps will come up as shallow as 6 or 8 inches. But then you have that little 2 foot trough in there, and they'll lay in those troughs. It's great summer water. It's hard to see it because there's a glare over here,
right.
But there's one right over in here. That last fish came right off that spot there, right off the trough, right off the other side of it. And the previous fish was right off, there's a trough to the left there. It's a good pattern in fast water like this. This is a classic spot for them. A lot of the other tail outs, like I said, are just real flat.
Just flat, just
Troughs are key. The Schuylkill River, if you know where there's little, I mean, the water will be 3 foot deep, and it'll drop to 4 in one spot, and there'll be 10 fish stacked in
those troughs.
Any change in the bottom contour?
Yeah, because you wouldn't. I mean, this is pretty fast water here. There's really nothing that would hold them except for those spots.
It's that change.
Yeah.
Yep. It's that change in the river bottom.
Like that. Oh! I lost them. Just that little change, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Right there.
These fish are really dark.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Those 2 fish I caught were really black. There he is.
Yeah. Came off those boulders out there.
Yeah. He acted like he was bigger than that.
Now, Blaine, you can see here we got a bunch of boulders that we can see in the water. Now, how would you fish those? Do you fish them from the side, or do you wait till he goes behind it, or?
This time of year, I like to fish them. I like to throw, like if I'm throwing a salty shad, I'll throw it upstream a little bit and twitch it right alongside of it. See that dark side? There's a dark side there.
Right, I can see that.
Because the sun's over on that bank, so that side's dark, which helps out in this summer, in the mornings in the summertime. I've caught fish on both sides of them already. It depends on, from previous trips about what the fish are doing. If the fish are more focused on cruising around, it doesn't really matter. But if they're buttoned down on a high sunny blue sky day, you're going to want to fish real tight to those boulders. They'll move out off of them though on days like this when the light's a little lower.
They'll scatter out a little bit.
Yeah, it's not as important. They'll spread out more. That fish was out off of it actually. He was 10 feet in front of it. Boy, he smashed it too. Well, he's not as better as I thought he was. He's a little better. He fooled me a little bit. I thought he was better than that.
He thinks he's better than that.
Yes, he does.
That's a nice size fish. That's a nice fish.
Come on, Bubba.
Now, Blaine, we have something occurring here right now. It's called cloud cover.
Yep.
Hopefully, it's a nice, look at the color on that fish. Hopefully that will get the fish a little stirred up with this cloud cover.
Be careful of those spines right there when you're handling small fish. If you can lip them, lip them. If not, you got to put your hands around there. I've been spined dozens of times this year. It really hurts. Those spines will hurt. I had one break off in my thumb a couple of weeks ago. It started to get infected.
Oh, it
really
hurts.
Smart.
It really does hurt. Now with the cloud cover though, what should be happening? It may not happen, but
the fish should start looking up through the water column and hammering my salty shad. We haven't seen it quite as prolifically as I would like to see.